You're listening to Real Crime, the Movie Sleuth podcast.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Groove is in the heart.
Welcome to the Real Crime. Well, happy Halloween.
I was going to say, guess what today is? Today's
The
October
first
1st,
show
but-
of October.
God,
The first show of October. Yay!
And this episode is called Groove is in the Heart. It's an all delight episode.
We got a nice mix
Great.
tonight.
So we're covering 3 songs for an hour and a half.
Yes.
Is that the plan?
But we did bring the funk.
All right. Well,
we
as
have
long
a
as Bootsy's in.
we have a nice mix tonight. We have Chris in the house. Hi, Chris. What are you,
nice to
what
have
are you
Chris
drinking?
back.
What are you drinking?
It's Monster Hydro.
That stuff is freaking good.
It is. It's really good. It's like not too sweet.
I saw you drinking it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I
And
love it.
I stopped at 7-Eleven. I was like thirsty as hell. I'm like, all right, I'm grabbing a bottle.
Okay.
It brings out the inner Walmart shopper in me.
It does. It does. It actually makes me put on camo pants. It's really weird.
hey, now easy.
Oh,
I got a couple pair.
oh.
It makes
Am I
me wanna
hitting
go
from
buy
the
a
home,
niece.
sir.
It still fit me.
It makes me want to go buy a Monster ball cap.
It makes me want to buy They sell Iron Maiden ball caps. I stopped into a Walmart a couple weeks ago, and they actually had Iron Maiden caps.
Can I
was
point
like,
out
Dude!
the irony of this? Like,
What?
Walmart was so part of trying to ban bands back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then now they're like, well, if we can make money off merchandising, well,
That's where it's at. Yeah. Heather's in the house tonight also. Hello, Heather.
Yo.
And of course, Mr. Trevor's here.
Always.
Interesting show. This is show number.
Travis is not here today.
Travis.
Oh, did I say call you? Did I call you?
No.
no, you called me the right thing. You said the right thing.
We just
I know I fucked up one time.
We're
You
fucking
fucked
with
up
you.
You fucked up one time, and now it has created a new character for our show.
Yep. Travis is the alter ego.
We're off to quite a start here.
We
Okay.
are. We're all a little dense tonight. It's
Let
okay.
me look at the tracks. Okay, yeah, Trevor. Trevor's here. Yeah.
Yes. I am still here.
Swear to God. Okay. This is show number 97. Yay.
God.
We're getting so close. How do we get this far?
I have no fucking clue.
I mean, really.
Intestinal fortitude.
If anybody,
Intestinal fortitude. Yes.
if there are actual fans of this show,
there are.
There's like
well,
two.
well, I
Two.
don't like. It's so pretentious. Anyways, I mean, the whole fan thing's so stupid. If you like to listen to something,
We don't
that's
think
cool.
you're stupid, though, people that like our show.
No.
No.
That's not
We
what
think
he's
you're
saying.
brilliant, but the whole fan thing I think is kind of ridiculous. Listeners are cool. I mean, that's how he's doing another podcast. It's like, oh, you like it? Great, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Are you a fan? Oh my God, you're a fan of my show. Oh, that's
I
so
do this
amazing.
because it's fun.
Well, yeah, and that's what it's all about. So
I do it for the large quantities of cash.
I do.
I was going to say, I do it because I like hearing myself talk, but
See, that's not why I do it. I hate my
He
voice.
hates his voice.
I don't like my
hate my
voice
voice.
either.
He is the one.
I just think what I have to say is important and it's better than most people, so.
There
Especially
you
when
go.
yeah.
That is the perfect
yeah,
attitude
yeah.
for a good podcast.
So that does answer the question why we're still here.
Yes.
Because
We are better than everyone. And
Well, that.
I do it for the copious amounts of blow and the free hookers.
I was gonna say I'm doing it for the poontang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
I did it all for the nookie.
Dude, Limp Bizkit just played a show
Limp Bizkit did just play a show.
Limp Bizkit is like
with
this
original
weird.
lineup.
It's this weird. Yeah.
I
What's
was-
the DJ's name?
He's
He's back in the band. Wes is in the band. They actually just toured with a female bassist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I actually watched some Limp Bizkit videos the other
sorry.
day. I know, but they're actually they sound really good. And
They were-
everywhere
okay.
overseas, they're still huge.
If you want to talk music, they were not a bad band.
They weren't
No,
terrible.
they
They
weren't a
just
bad
were.
band
They
at
just
all.
dated themselves very quickly
Yep.
without knowing it. But Wes Borland's a fantastic guitar player.
Oh.
Super
Yes.
creative too.
One hell of a
Yeah.
songwriter also. So no disrespect to those guys to a
No.
certain, but
Plus, he's cute, so.
oh well that too. He's very cute with those ridiculous costumes. That's the only thing he could just get up there and jam.
Yeah,
You don't need to look like a friggin'
it's his thing though.
I was
don't
going to
need-
say, that was the whole thing of that time.
It was weird.
It was, because you have Fred Durst center, like in shorts and a t-shirt and a backwards ball cap, and then him off to the left in
a monkey
costume,
suit.
and it's like
Yeah, in some ninja outfit.
and
or
his
something.
ninja outfit with his white contacts, looking all like, look at me, I'm satanic.
Stop.
It's like,
I'm watching these videos, and it's pretty funny because there's like it was like the 3-minute mark or something, and Fred Durst is standing there with like this like psychotic look on his face, and somebody commented on that minute mark, and they're like, looks like he's having Woodstock '97 flashbacks.
That's good.
I was like, that's pretty fucking spot on.
That's
Anyways,
Yeah.
really
enough
funny.
about Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
please, for the love of
It's not a
God,
music
let's stop
show.
talking about
Yeah.
it.
It's not a music show.
I'm gonna hit our sponsors here really quick.
Yeah.
Flint Institute of Arts, I actually talked to them today. They're re-upping their sponsorship for a year. So you're going to hear
Wow.
about that from us for the next 12 months
Oh,
again.
thanks, guys.
I'm
Yeah.
moving in.
Yeah.
I'm moving in there.
Oh, sweet.
That's the next thing. They've offered me a place to live.
Oh, wow.
That was their,
That's very generous.
Yeah.
Also, projectorscreen.com.
If you
Absolutely.
have not signed up, what's wrong with you?
Excuse
Yeah.
me, sir, was that a fuck you?
No.
That was it.
It was a
Respect my soda.
or in
Anyways.
Juggalo speak, book oof,
Yeah.
book oof, or whatever. That's what I get. That's what
We're not starting on Juggalos right now.
No.
Let's just-
We already talked
let's
about
go all
Walmart,
the
and
way.
we already talked about Limp Bizkit.
We
Basically
We're not
already
talking-
talked about Juggalos.
Yeah,
we
that's
just
true.
didn't bring up Insane Clown
Walmart
Posse.
and Limp Bizkit.
Oh, my God.
Let's
All right,
do
moving
this
on.
equation.
Moving along.
Walmart plus Limp Bizkit
Bizkit.
equals
Juggalo.
ICP.
Juggalo.
Exactly. Oh,
All right.
plus Fago.
Who else?
Sellerman's.
Yes.
Oh,
Check them out. www.sellermans.com.
If you haven't fallen off a bar stool at Sellerman's, you haven't lived life.
or you haven't fallen off a bar stool at Sellerman's. Either way.
And their bar stools.
True.
And their bar stools are very clean.
They're very nice.
It's the most important part.
The place is really, I mean, in all seriousness, if you haven't been there yet, go down there, check the place out. They have a comedy show going on this Thursday that I think I might be shooting down to hang out at.
Cool.
They got a bunch of comedians that are going to be there to hang out, just to have, and we, Jeff and Dom come down here. They've been down here twice. They come down here with a cooler.
A cooler of booze for us.
Yeah, just to check out. And it's amazing. And everything they bring is amazing. Their
It
flavor's
was so
incredible.
good.
Oh, dude, totally.
So good.
You can't top the place. I mean, great local brew, the finest of ingredients. The finest of ingredients.
Super. They don't buy them from Walmart.
They don't at all. So anyways, all right, great. Sellerman's rules.
And they have live music, including the wonderful sounds of Limp Bizkit.
Oh, my God.
Anyways.
To get Limp Bizkit to play at Sellerman's.
Chris,
Oh,
aren't you
crap.
playing there?
No.
We played. My band played there once, and it was
Yeah.
it was amazing. Great place to play too. Anyways,
So,
go ahead. All right.
in news this week, Stallone just teased the first set photos from Rambo 5.
You
And
mean True Grit Rambo?
Yeah. I'm actually kind of excited.
I'm kind of digging it.
Because you know what that, I mean, he's not going to stay in that. He's not going to look like a cowboy the entire movie, but that's going to be basically, he's going to be down in Texas, hanging out, and then shit's going to go down, and he's going to go Rambo style.
Yep.
In other news, A Star is Born is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
That's
not really
not
news, but I just have to say that.
Okay.
First trailer for
God,
Rocket Man.
I'm waiting for him just to get on his knees and suck Bradley Cooper
Dude,
off.
that movie was so fucking good. So fucking good. Anyways, the first trailer for Rocket Man dropped this week, starring
Looks
Taron Egerton
amazing.
as
Yeah.
Elton John.
He looks so good as Elton John.
He looks
It's
just like him.
ridiculous,
So good.
yeah.
So, The Nun. It set a worldwide record for the entire Conjuring franchise. It's made $330 million globally so far.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
For the Nun.
yeah, for The Nun.
Man, I thought
Like-
the first Conjuring was really awesome.
Yeah.
But I
They're fun
haven't
to
seen
watch.
anything
They
else.
are. I mean, they're complete shams, but they're great.
Yeah, they're fun to watch.
Yeah. And then Kathleen Kennedy, haha, cry for me, fanboys, cry. She just got 3 more years at Lucasfilm after all that talk of, she's going to get fired.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
going to can her. They're going to get rid of her. None of that's happening.
Nope.
She just got an extended 3-year contract.
And it sounds like it might be official that Obi-Wan and Darth Maul are scrapped.
Good.
Thank you.
There was going to be offshoots, like solo movies for those two.
Yeah. Yeah. And fanboys have been begging for Obi-Wan, so it's just kind of a little extra venomy
Yeah.
spite
I mean,
thing.
I could totally. I would watch an Obi-Wan movie.
They had Ewan McGregor back to do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I do remember hearing all of that.
We don't need it. We don't need it.
We don't. The
You
Darth
didn't
Maul
need-
one would have been interesting, especially with that ending of that movie that just came out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, agreed. But I don't need any more spin-offs.
New releases this week, Chris.
New releases this week, A Star is Born. I'm just going to say, if you don't see this movie, your life sucks.
It's in
You
the
hate
theaters.
puppy
It's
dogs.
in the theaters,
and you
right?
hope
It
your
is in
cat
the
gets
theaters, yeah.
cancer.
It's in the
So-
theaters,
It's
right?
about to be next week.
No, it'll be out on Thursday night.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'll go see it.
Yep. And also,
I still have no urge to see it.
really, you would actually like it.
I'm sure I would, but it'll be great on Blu-ray.
It's funny because Bradley Cooper is in the movie, obviously, and Sam Elliott plays his older brother. And Bradley Cooper sounds exactly like Sam Elliott in this
That's a
movie.
trip.
He copped his voice, so
Yeah.
they actually sound like brothers. Dude, it's weird. Bradley Cooper kind of disappears into this role.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Is it bad to say I'd like to make out with Sam Elliott?
I would totally make out with Sam Elliott.
All right, cool. All right, good.
I would totally do it.
How about both of us make out with Sam
At the
Elliott?
same time.
Absolutely.
We'll fucking Devil's Triangle with Sam Elliott.
Oh wow.
Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
knew
And then,
it was gonna get there.
And then, of
knew it.
course, the sad Venom is coming out.
Yes. Yes.
You know what's making me happy about Venom though?
I just want to cry.
There is one thing that's making me very happy about Venom.
that everybody says it's worse than Catwoman and the Fantastic Four.
No, that I called it the day they announced it.
Yeah, man.
That it was going to be a pile of
Yeah,
shit.
I knew it was gonna be a pile of shit.
The minute they announced the movie, I said, this movie's going to fucking suck. All you fanboys eat it.
Yeah.
And here it is. It's coming out. And I'm like, oh, how shocking. It sucks.
Right. Yeah.
It's everybody keeps saying it's some leftover from the early 2000s.
Oh wow.
It probably is.
Yeah,
That sucks though,
Yeah,
because
It looks like it was a script that
Tom Hardy.
from something else that they decided to plug Venom into.
Yeah.
It looks so dumb.
so suggested viewings this week. Moving off of Tom Hardy making a shitty movie,
Another
I saw
one.
this really cool flick the other night. Total 80s retro throwback. It was called Cruise. It's basically a love story. It's written by Richard Spiegel, who wrote The Wrestler. It stars Emily Ratajkowski and Spencer Boldman.
Really? That
Really
sounds interesting.
really cool flick. Basically, she's a rich Jewish girl from, the uppity side of town. He's some, criminal car radio thief that, is from Brooklyn or wherever, and they hook up, and it's not really like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, but it's more of that wrong side of the tracks love story. And this dude that's in it, Spencer Boldman, he looks and sounds exactly like Matt Dillon in the 80s.
Wow.
It's really weird.
That's
Watching
odd.
him, I'm like, oh my God, it's Matt Dillon. But yeah, so really good movie. It's called Cruise. Check
Is
it
it a
out.
sequel to The Outsiders?
No, it's not. But if you like movies like Diner,
Stay gold, Tommy boy.
or
Anyway.
Pony.
American Graffiti, you'll dig this movie.
All right,
You
cool.
know, it's,
Close,
I'm
come on.
ashamed
I love
to
both of
say
those,
I
so.
have never seen American Graffiti.
You should be ashamed.
I am ashamed.
Heather, what is your suggested viewing for this week?
So, I have been trying to trickle in movies that I have not. Movies
Would you
that
eat
I
the
have,
mic for God's sake?
Jesus.
She's jamming it in her face.
right.
Come
right
on.
now.
I've been
Wrote it.
trying hard to put in movies that I haven't seen because it's October and there's an abundance of horror movies, right?
Oh yeah.
So there is one thing that out of all the shit that I watched just in the last few days, there was one thing that I thought was okay. It's called Sir No Face, and it's I don't know if it's a
I've never even heard of this.
it's a
Haven't heard of it.
documentary about these paranormal investigators in Australia, West Sydney Paranormal Activity Team. I can't remember the guy that directed. His name's Calic or something. Anyways, I don't know if it's true or not. I have absolutely no idea if the footage that they show is real, but it was still really interesting. I love paranormal investigation stuff.
Chad Kalick.
Yeah. But Sir No Face is a piece of footage that they find of a ghost and they can't debunk it and all this crap. So, it's on Amazon Prime, so it's free if you have Amazon right now.
Hot.
But it was cool. I mean,
Sir No Face.
Sir No Face, yeah.
Okay.
The guy that directed it, he's a paranormal investigator, and he actually was on a TV show. He's got his own thing going on, but he doesn't do any investigating, which I think is kind of odd. He doesn't try to set up his own cameras and stuff like that, you know? So I still don't know if it's true or not, how real it is, but it was neat. So,
It sounds fun.
Yeah. The editing is garbage, though. Sorry, Chad. And the graphics are fucking garbage. It's like a 14-year-old PowerPoint thing. So I don't know. It's just bad. So that's mine. Sir No Face on Amazon
Thanks,
Prime.
Heather. Trevor?
I'm going to go with the anti-fan favorite. I'm going to go Solo, just because that Blu-ray release.
Oh, cool. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah,
it is so worth a watch.
Actually, Chris, can I borrow that?
It is.
No.
It's like Fast. It's
Can I
like
borrow
Fast
your
and the
DVD
Furious.
copy?
No, I'm
meets
watching
Star
it this
Wars.
week.
So it's ridiculous. It's goofy. It has so much fan service nods in it that are just amazing. I adored the movie. I had almost no issues with it.
Okay.
No, almost none.
Well, I won't be buying it, but unless Jesse does. But I would like to borrow it from either one of you.
After I watch it this weekend, when I get my new receiver, then you can borrow it.
Okay.
Then you can borrow.
We'll just have a movie party over here for it.
Yeah, actually, we
Yeah.
could do that. That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea, actually. I would love that.
When?
Soon. I just got to replace my receiver, and then we can watch it.
Yeah.
All right.
Scott.
I actually have one this week.
Yeah.
I was trying to get my pump primed for October, obviously, and to get myself into the this. And my goal is to watch a movie every day, which I completely failed yesterday and today, which is all the shit that I have to get done. However, over the weekend, I was goofing around on Netflix, and I did come across a documentary called "The Devil and Father Amorth."
Oh, I saw that. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, well, and it's William Friedkin. Who's like the narrator, kind of he kind of created it. I don't even know, but he's doing all the interviews. Now, if you don't know who William Friedkin is, he's the guy who directed The Exorcist, the original Exorcist. I've talked about this several times on the show. How there's that, and there's a lot of people that don't like that version, but there was in 1999, they put out the DVD version of The Exorcist, and it was called The Version You've Never Seen.
Yeah,
right?
I love that one.
Which I love. It's got a lot of the deleted footage, the footage they shot in Iraq in the beginning. There's a lot of crazy stuff in the film, but what I love,
Spider walk down the stairs.
Spider walk is a classic.
That made me actually pee a little bit.
Yeah,
made her pee too.
When it actually
I
happened.
peed everywhere. I peed everywhere.
Sorry, Scott. Sorry,
no, you're
Scott,
fine.
I'm
You're all right. It's cool. So, one of my favorite things to do is still to this day, and I've owned that DVD. I mean, I bought it. Was probably one of the first DVDs I ever bought was that version of The Exorcist when it was super expensive. My favorite thing to do with that DVD is to watch The Exorcist with William Friedkin's narration,
Where he talks about the process.
Well, a lot. What I've said, I think before, is a lot of directors' commentaries. A lot of them tend to be technical. They kind of get into the more technical aspect of what they were trying to do with it. Where William Friedkin's approach is like nothing I've ever heard. He really kind of gets into the mind of the characters, especially during the really key elements, the key parts of the film. And William Friedkin, to me, has one of the greatest. He's, as far as a speaker, he's one of the greatest delivery men ever. I mean, the guy he has such an amazing voice. He has a beautiful voice too. So I can watch it. I don't think I've really watched The Exorcist in a very long time without his commentary.
That's funny.
I just watch it like that. It's just way cooler to me.
No, that's really cool.
So
I'll watch it.
The Devil and Father Amorth
Yeah.
is this documentary where he was getting back into this and talking about when he was making The Exorcist, and he was talking about what it was based on and a lot of things. When William Peter Blatty wrote the screenplay, the book and the screenplay. But basically what this documentary, it's a short, I'm a big fan of the short watch. My attention span's getting shorter and shorter the older I get, it seems. This is about an hour 10.
I was going to say, I
Right.
think it's like an hour.
Where they actually, and I don't want to fucking spoil it for everybody, but basically the key element of the film is an exorcism.
Yeah.
A real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? And I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into. I knew it was going to be good because it's William Friedkin. I mean, the guy he's amazing. So just to get to hear him, watch him talk was enough for me. And talk about really cool shit like exorcisms and demons and shit. So the footage they shoot, it's all real footage, they say. Unaltered footage of a real exorcism by the now unfortunately deceased Father Amorth.
Right.
And damn,
yeah.
heavy flick.
All right.
Sweet.
That's all I want to say. I really enjoyed it.
I'll watch that tomorrow.
Not even from a real entertainment. I mean, yeah, I was entertained,
Of course.
but
It's intense.
Well, from a research standpoint too,
Yeah.
and being just The Exorcist being one of my all-time favorite films, and the idea of The Exorcist and what happened in that case that was written after, for him to follow this back up, 40-something years later now, and dive back into
45 years.
Yeah, it's a fucking long time ago. Dive back into this subject full head on and do a documentary like this. It was amazing. So, yeah, I definitely highly recommend it, especially for Halloween. It's kind of a cool thing to watch for Halloween, I think, too. So, yeah, there you go.
That's a great impression
I actually
of
watched something this week. Yay for me.
So
No, it's
tonight
cool.
we're discussing movies that we generally watch around Halloween, correct?
Yeah, and
Our
I think we're
picks?
going to kind of follow this theme through the month.
Yeah.
kind of.
Well,
Maybe
it's,
not
definitely
next
horror,
week.
it's definitely horror month.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
We're doing
horror.
horror every show.
Yeah.
No, which is tough because we do a lot of horror here.
And what's going to
do.
be pretty cool is that we're going to cap it off with our 100th episode this month. And on the 100th episode, we're bringing the live stream back.
We're taking mushrooms.
So we're going to
We're taking
celebrate.
mushrooms that night, too.
Yep, we're going to celebrate the 100th episode, bringing the live stream back,
Yeah,
and we promise a really cool episode. I'm
What
not
date
sure
does
what's
that fall on? What date?
Oh, I don't know yet. Maybe it's
Well,
Halloween.
according to my
Is
calendar
it
here,
Halloween? Is it the last Tuesday of the month?
no, it'll be the 23rd. If we do, if we go every week this week,
We're doing
this
every-
month,
yeah.
So it'll be the 23rd of
23rd,
October.
close enough. We can
Oh,
always,
yeah.
Or we could just wait till Halloween, take a week off. I don't know, whatever you guys want to do.
Nah.
No, I
Well, we're already
I
at
can't be here
97,
Halloween,
so I mean, shit.
and I really want to be here for the 100th. So
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
but as Chris
Oh
said,
my
yeah,
God, we should do we should do a
We should
Mystery
talk about
Science
this
Theater
later so we
for
don't
the
give
100th
away.
episode, and watch a movie and then do the commentary.
We should.
I already
talk
said
about
we're going
this
to snort a
not
bunch of
on the podcast.
Oh.
crystal off the desk here,
Yeah.
and we're going
Right,
to party
I forgot we were rolling.
With goth hookers.
with goth
Anyways,
hookers. Yeah,
Crystal meth
moving
and
on.
goth hookers.
moving along.
Moving
Moving
along.
along.
Moving along.
So we're going to talk about some movies that we like to watch around Halloween.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Hell
And the
yeah.
first one that I'm going to pick is going to be the Amityville Horror.
Yay!
The original Amityville Horror,
Yeah.
which I know Scott takes issue with.
Yeah.
It's hard
Because,
not to.
well,
If you-
because it's all bullshit. We know
it's
now it's all
absolute bullshit.
fucking
And
And
bullshit.
we don't need to get into that.
But
yeah,
we don't
I mean,
need to get into
but
that.
it's, you
Still
know what?
fun.
As far as a movie, it's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to say it's the first one, but it's the best one of all of them.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
I adore that movie because it still has that,
It's creepy.
it's creepy as shit,
Fucking creepy.
and it's
Margot
still
Kidder looks good.
and it still has that 80s feel to it. Mm-hmm. It's scary. It's an actual
It's a gruff
scary
movie, man. It's hard to watch still. I
It
think.
is. It is a rough movie to watch, especially like dads.
Yeah,
Like the minute that happened, and then I watched it, added a whole other layer of like this movie's fucked.
well, and it's just crazy. Like now when you watch it, because there's so much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And like Scott knows more history behind this than most of us do.
Yeah.
But knowing it's all bullshit, it's just I don't know.
Well, I mean,
It
I
doesn't
would
It's hard to
I-
explain.
It doesn't affect
Here's the
me.
thing. I mean, I don't want to dive into that aspect of it, but just so we're clear. I mean, there's a lot of things pointing to that whole case, George Lutz and all that stuff. It was all a hoax, right? However, there's a lot of other evidence out there too that points that something really did happen, something anomalous happened that nobody knows about. However, I mean, just from an entertainment standpoint, let's keep it
It's a
there.
great movie.
It's
as
a
an
great movie
entertainment.
to watch. I 100% agree, Chris.
I think it's one of the better haunting movies to come out of the 80s
I
easily.
thought it was late 70s.
Was it?
I thought it was
79?
79.
Maybe 79.
And you know what? I have it on one of my other lists because I broke this thing up, and now I'm going to screw
Pretty
myself
sure
up
it's
royal.
the 70s. Because that beard and afro that
Those pants.
James Brolin is rocking in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, 79. You guys are
79?
right. Yeah.
Thank you.
So late 70s, early 80s.
Same thing.
But yeah,
It still
just-
has that feel.
It's one of the best haunted house movies.
Yeah,
Especially up to that point. Like, we hadn't gotten to Poltergeist yet. We hadn't,
we were kind of entering that 80s
Yeah.
era of the
Yeah.
really good
Horror.
haunting movies.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was the movie that kicked it off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
It's a good one.
Couldn't agree more. Great flick.
That's a good one to watch every year.
Heather, why don't we move on to you?
So I have if it was a few years ago when we were trying to just like find stuff to watch, and I don't know if any of you have actually seen this, but this movie called Splinter.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not super old, maybe like
No, it's
6 or 7 years old. I couldn't tell you who did it, who's in it, because there's really not big names in it, but it is awesome. It's like a new kind of thing. You know, it draws a lot from The Thing and John Carpenter's Thing. I mean, both, I guess. But
Splinter's fucking awesome.
yeah, Splinter is
Splinter
really
is-
cool. Like
we're talking about
Splinter-
that Sam Night Shyamalan.
No,
No.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're
Split?
thinking of.
Oh, yeah,
You're thinking of
Split.
Split,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No,
yeah,
Splinter. Splinter deals with. We don't even address it in the movie, like where this fucking thing comes from. But it's this creature, and it splinters off, and it's like a parasite basically, and it just splinters off, and it uses you, and it makes you like a
For
robot
what?
basically. It's like it uses your body to get places and do things and feed itself and stuff. It's really cool actually, and
Oh, wow.
it's CGI for the most part, I think. But
it's not badly done.
No, but it's not badly done at all. And like all of the blood and
I think most
the
of that's because
zombies.
of the lighting of the movie, though.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking film, and the acting is fantastic. And there's this one guy in Splinter, and I should have did more, but I can't remember his name. But he's an amazing actor. We saw him in Splinter, and then he just started cropping up everywhere. I think he was in like Hacksaw Ridge and another war movie.
Oh, you're thinking of Shea Wiggum.
He's got the like square head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shea Wiggum, yeah.
Dude, that guy is so great in that movie. Like that was the first time we ever saw it, and that was a few years ago when we saw that when we actually saw it. And yep, he's awesome. And it's in my list of movies to watch every single Halloween because that movie is just so creepy, and it's got the whole thing creature horror element to it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think Shea Wiggum played like the convict in this. That came to the gas station
Right,
or whatnot. Yeah.
He was
Yep.
he was trying to, which is another thing. It's got this whole like weird Last House on the Left like vibe too, because he's a convict and he's got a girlfriend who's clearly abused, but is like so manipulated and like into it that it's just such a wild ride movie. It's really cool.
I dug that movie.
Yeah, the movie's
Yeah.
awesome. Splinter.
Trev,
I am going PG, or maybe even G
You're
with
pregnant?
this one.
Ooh.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Mandatory Halloween movie.
Mandatory.
Bette Midler at her absolute best.
I haven't seen that
All
in
of
a
them.
long time.
Everybody.
them.
Everybody.
Everybody.
It has
Sarah-
horse face in it too.
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah
Yeah.
Jessica Parker looks like a foot.
It's the
She looks
truth.
good in it, though.
She does.
I don't know how they
I
did
was
that.
Sarah
That's some
for
good
Halloween
makeup.
After that movie came out.
No, it's just so mandatory. It's such a fun Halloween movie that it's kind of like, for me, it's one of those ones that you start off the holiday season
Yeah,
with to really
for sure.
feel like it. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually Halloween. It's actually October. Let's do this.
And it's the movie. It is I think what PG. I think or no they say
I think it's PG or G.
They swear in it a couple times. So
It's
I'm not
PG.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think they say like shit a couple times or whatever.
at least once.
But what I love the most about that movie is it's nostalgic for me as like when I was a kid.
It's nostalgic for a lot of people.
You know?
For me, I was an adult when it came out,
It makes me think of trick or treating when I was a kid.
but I had a girlfriend that loved it. And that was how I got introduced to it.
It's
and
such an
I
adorable
fell
movie.
in love with the movie. I was
and
like,
it's
this
like
is so
not
good.
even people are like, oh, it's a chick flick, but whatever.
It's not a
like,
chick flick.
It's not a chick flick. It's a really good.
And
Halloween
McGee from
story.
NCIS is in it.
I know, dude. There's so many good things in that movie. And the way that it starts is really horrifying too. How they
Oh, it
hang the
is.
witches and
The beginning of that movie is actually scary
It's
especially
like-
for a kid.
yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah.
you're not sure how this is gonna go, and then
And then
The house
what's
turns
his
into a
name? What's his
museum.
name that has his mouth sewn shut?
Oh
and-
yeah, Billy.
I mean, tell me that's not freaking creepy for a kid.
It is, yeah.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, tough call on this one, but you know what? I'm just going to go with this one. I think. You're speaking towards nostalgia, and one of the films that I really always like to fall back on during Halloween is Deadly Friend.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's a good
You know,
one.
You know, and it's got plenty
add
of
that.
shrills in it to watch, but it bummed me out when I was younger. It really bummed me out. Like the whole thing was just, the whole story really was upsetting to me because, you know, the dude's like, you know, they're getting it on. You know, he's got a friend / girlfriend now, and you know, of course, we know how that works out. And we know. I mean, I'm trying not to spoil things too much either for people who haven't seen it, but you know, pretty outlandish plot of how things play out. But the ending is what really fucked me up because she actually starts to regain consciousness again. Mm-hmm. If you remember.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, I'm probably
That was Christy Swanson. In that, correct?
I'm being very cryptic
Good
right
memory,
now.
dude.
the original Buffy.
Yeah, good memory, dude.
Yeah.
I'm being really cryptic right now about it. 'Cause I
She's
don't
also
want
in
to spoil
Ferris
too much.
Bueller.
She's cute.
Yeah.
So, you can't
So
really
yeah,
forget her
like
face.
I really like that movie. It's you know there's not really. It's just it's disturbing on a more realistic level.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider it a Halloween film. It's very outlandish and kind of crazy and gory as all hell, and there's some pretty extreme scenes in it. But at the same time, it's one of those ones that I
The head smashing scene with the basketball.
The basketball, yeah, dude.
Everybody always shares that meme on
yeah, it's
Facebook.
great.
Yeah.
But the ending really did bum me out, though. It's like, oh, dude, wait, no, just another second, everything would have been cool again, you know. But Deadly Friend, fucking great flick.
Great movie.
I can watch that. It's another classic. You
Yeah.
know,
I need
it's
to
just that
rewatch
feel.
that.
I
I don't
know,
think
I
I've seen it in
Total
like 15
classic,
years.
man.
I'm
Total
so
classic.
happy that we're doing this because I get to put movies back into my watch list because I watch the
Yeah.
same 30 movies, you know.
Right.
See, I can't do that. I have
I
about
love
300 horror movies at home. So for me, whenever it's like Halloween,
Time.
I'm super
Yeah.
jealous
Circulate.
that you have
Yeah.
that monster flick box set. That's awesome.
that alone is 30 movies for Halloween.
Yeah.
So at the site, we're doing our daily horror reviews, our 31 Days of Hell that we do every year. Yes. And I'm actually going to pick one that Michelle just reviewed.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this movie a lot on here.
I've never seen
But
it.
In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh God.
Fucking A, dude.
Oh,
I've talked about that a lot on here,
Oh.
but I actually remember, seeing it the first time. We saw it at Beacon East over on 8 Mile.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Alicia lived in this little shitty house in Detroit. And that was like the only theater that was still open in the area. And we went to go see that movie. And those theaters were big back in the day. I mean, that huge, long...
Yeah, I remember I
those
saw
theaters
Romeo
just
and
went on
Michelle there.
forever, with those vinyl, like, pleather type
oh God,
seats.
those horrible
Yep.
seats.
Like 10 seats per side on each row. But we went and saw that opening night, like at midnight. You know, like just when you want to watch that movie at midnight in this massive old theater, and we were the only people in there.
Oh Jesus.
I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than watching a horror movie like
Alone
that
in a massive theater.
in a massive theater. Yeah,
Especially one of that caliber, too.
yeah, that
That's
movie.
top shelf. Total
Oh,
top
that
shelf.
is one of the best horror movies I've ever seen.
Top shelf.
Easily one of the best.
And what's funny is when that movie came out, it kind of got passed off as it's
It did.
shitty.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
shitty.
bullshit.
You know? But no, that movie is absolutely amazing.
Do you read Sutter K?
Oh, dude. The kid on the bike. The kid on the bike.
Kid on the bike.
That
So I
shit freaks me the fuck
I
out
have
to this day.
the funniest story about that. So I saw it opening night, midnight, very similar to you, except for in Factoria, Washington. And went and saw it with my girlfriend, my best friend's girlfriend, and him. We all went back to his place afterwards. We were stoned out of our minds watching it. For the
Awesome.
opening. Everybody went and fooled around and all that kind of stuff. I went home,
Hot.
went to sleep, and in my dream, I woke up. And when I woke up, the little kid grown into the creepy old man was standing at the foot of the bed in my dream. And it scared me so much that I woke up in my dream,
Right.
not realizing I was still in my dream. And like, oh, thank God, thank God, thank God. Turned to my left, and he's standing to the left of my bed. And then I woke up. That was the last time a movie gave me a nightmare. But God damn, it was a good nightmare.
It's such a textured horror film too.
It's
There's so much going
so
on
beautiful looking,
in it.
man.
Yeah,
It
all
is
the
so
practical
deep.
effects.
Such a deep movie.
You can't make a movie like that anymore. I'm sorry.
You
just
could. You
they
could.
don't they
Who
don't
made
make horror
that?
films like that anymore.
Who made it?
John Carpenter.
Carpenter.
Oh, you did?
yeah.
I've never seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
As we've
Yeah.
stated before,
It's a Carpenter movie that feels like a Clive Barker movie.
yeah,
Ooh.
I agree.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
part
that-
of the Apocalypse trilogy we've talked about before.
it was the third part.
The third part, The Thing, Prince of Darkness,
Mm-hmm.
and In the Mouth of Madness. Those three films were what he called his Apocalypse trilogy.
Okay.
Brilliant, yeah, and all those obviously are all top shelf horror
Yeah.
films, so you
Oh,
can't fuck with any
bar
of those
none.
movies.
And just so you guys know, I will mention this. John Carpenter was interviewed the other day and said he is going to direct another movie.
Oh, thank God.
And he's not sure if it's going to be horror. He might do something totally different. So,
Well, hey,
I'm
he did
okay with-
Elvis in the 70s. Why
yeah.
not?
Yep.
I'm okay with any of that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't only do horror. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, that
Yeah,
movie's
that's
that's
true.
one of my top movies
That's,
for sure.
yeah.
I love
That's
that
your
movie.
favorite movie.
That is
But-
probably my top 2-3 favorite movies ever made.
Really, I
Yeah.
fucking love that movie.
In the
I
Mouth
love
of
that movie.
Michelle is an excellent movie.
Yes. Oh,
Take that. You ain't here to defend
That's
yourself.
good. That's funny.
That's what happens when you have to work nights.
That's what happens.
she's working nights, all right.
Technically, it's days,
Heather,
but she works until 11. What? Oh
your
yeah,
turn, Heather.
my turn. Okay, so another. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the lump here because every single year I watch Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, you bastard.
Yeah.
I was going to do that.
That was
I
mine.
know.
On
That,
my
I mean,
list, too.
we're probably
Yeah.
gonna overlap and say the same
Oh, yeah.
movie,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
it's I watch all 7 movies, and I think they get better as they go, and I don't really even like 6 that much, but 7, I think 7 New Nightmare.
New Nightmare is brilliant.
Really
is
great.
the best.
We were
Nightmare.
talking about that on the Friday the 13th show.
Oh man.
well, that, and we did a whole show on, we did a whole episode on Nightmare on Elm Street. I forgot what number it was.
I grew up with Freddy Krueger, and he's like my ultimate. That's also probably why I can't get into Mike Myers and Jason.
Yeah, Mike
you know?
Myers. They're a
I
little
just-
bit more subtle.
And
that
I'm
sounds weird, but they're a little bit more subtle.
No, they are, because it's Freddy Krueger. He comes, the whole dream thing. But I'm really into that stuff, so I relate to more.
That,
you know?
and I love the source for where he got the idea
Oh,
for
yeah.
the movie. That it was, I want to say Taiwanese kids
Mm-hmm.
that were dying in their sleep all over Los Angeles, and it was like 4 or 5 of them
Yeah.
in like a 3-week period, and they were all young, healthy, no reason to die,
right, and they, were
they
just
all
dying
died in their sleep.
Yeah.
Speaking of In the Mouth of Michelle, also we should use and Freddy Krueger also for the posting this week for this particular show. There was that absolutely awesome picture of Michelle that she
Yes,
posted up.
her new profile pic.
Her new profile pic, dressed as Freddy Krueger one year. She dressed as him.
That
it's great.
that needs to be our picture
It's-
for this episode.
We should use it because it's such a great picture, man. It's so awesome. I'm sorry,
And
I
then
didn't
just
mean
do
to cut you off, Heather. But I had to say
paste her onto the cover of a Sutter Kane book, and we're all good.
that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Heather. But
No,
I
it's
had
all
to
right.
mention that.
I assume everybody also has seen the documentary, the 4-hour documentary on the series.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have, yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I was glued to the screen for that.
Never sleep again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I've
I
also
love those
have you
docs.
actually
Yeah.
watched all of the TV footage that they
I've
had?
watched
Yeah.
absolutely everything,
everything
that
that
has
there
ever
is.
come out for Nightmare on Elm Street,
Same here. It's
including
one
the
of-
TV series.
Yep, the TV series too. It's one of my ultimate favorite things to watch during Halloween, and
Yep.
it's not even really Halloween related. It's just a horror movie.
Sure,
you know?
it is.
So,
It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm going to be saying a lot of Wes Craven movies because Wes Craven's my man's. I love him. I think he's awesome.
Should dig his
Awesome.
corpse up then.
Yeah.
Oh God, too
Oh.
soon.
Too soon. It's never too soon around here.
Trev.
Oh man, with you stealing that,
I know,
one,
I'm
now,
sorry.
I my brain was already on that. I'm gonna go Clive Barker. Then we're gonna go Hellraiser.
I've only seen the first Hellraiser. I've never
What?
seen any of them.
I thought we were okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, okay, all right, cool.
Yes,
All right.
yes. Even with what the stuff,
Well, you
I
can't
can-
fuck with it.
you can't.
It's as simple as that.
It is.
It's an
I think
institution.
one of the best crafted horror movies, especially of the '80s, where it took the slasher genre and really wanted to make it deep.
Now,
You know,
it's an institution now,
Yeah.
Hellraiser, and I mean, at least in my humble opinion.
yeah,
And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the first time I saw Hellraiser and when I saw the Cenobites, you'll never get that feeling back ever again.
no,
I had never seen something like that. And I'm one of those people that read the book years later.
Cabal,
So that
or not Cabal.
The Hellbound Heart.
Hellbound
Heart,
Heart. So
yeah.
it wasn't, it didn't have the same impact, I guess, if I had done it the other way around. And there's a lot of differences with the book too.
Yeah,
But seeing that on the screen in front of you, these creatures, or I don't know what the hell they are, demons to some, angels to others. I mean,
yeah.
you don't get that back.
No.
It was, and to me, it was almost the Cenobites I'm talking about. They were almost just ridiculous to a certain degree. It was to me it borderlined like this could be laughed at.
Almost.
But you're not laughing. Because Pinhead, look at Pinhead. Mm-hmm. It's a ridiculous thing. If you
But-
just go ahead.
But when you look at them, there's something there where if he played it just a little different, it would be comedy.
Oh yeah, and that's Doug Bradley.
Doug Bradley, the way he did it,
yeah.
you couldn't help but take it seriously.
Well, I mean, and as I've said before about Hellraiser, and we'll probably say in the coming weeks, because Hellraiser is going to come up a lot.
Oh,
Doug Bradley turned Pinhead. I think he took that character from what it was in the book, which was this, not the leader, more of a
just
soft-spoken,
Cenobite.
but more of a soft-spoken Cenobite, and made Pinhead into a poet,
Yeah.
demon, warrior, whatever you want to call him.
I mean, he has one
Pinhead's
of
a
my
warrior.
favorite lines
I mean, a
in
poet.
horror movie history is Doug Jones or Doug
Bradley.
Bradley in that movie. The your pain will be legendary even in hell.
Yeah.
I mean,
We have such sights to show
such
you.
sights to show you.
I mean, there's, part 3. Do I look like someone that cares about what God thinks? I mean, the guy's like, oh my God, do I look like someone who cares about what God thinks? I mean, that's that's fucking like nearly
It's
falling
riding
off the
that
cliff
fine line.
of comedy to a certain degree. Like now Pinhead has a little bit of a sense of humor. Like you can't be.
Well, after 2, when they humanize him, literally,
Yeah.
literally, then all of a sudden he's back to being Pinhead in 3,
Mm-hmm.
and he brought some of that human aspect of himself.
Oh
back
yeah, and the
with it.
blasphemy kind of came into play in part 3, the church scene and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I'd like
Let's
to leave
not
it-
go too
I don't
deep
wanna
into
too-
this
I
one.
don't want to go too deep.
We
but
gotta.
That's
we
a
gotta
given. That's a given.
move
though.
along.
It's an
Because next
institution.
week we're doing.
We'd be sued.
Hellraiser
We'd be
thing.
sued
There you
if we
go,
didn't talk
folks.
about
You
that.
Heard it first.
We're gonna do
Heard
it.
it
Huh?
first.
Now Hellraiser is it's an institution.
Oh yeah.
You can't mess with those films.
You, Scott.
Oh man, really?
Sorry.
Okay, let's see here. I have a massive list here, and I'm trying to manage this.
Yeah, you do 3 parts.
Well,
know.
I mean, what's happened here is you guys threw a monkey wrench in my operation. So I
You're
had this
welcome.
all planned out for the next 4 weeks, and now people are mentioning stuff that I had planned out without knowing about it. So I'm having to kind of watch this stuff. You know what? Here's one. Let's just throw it out there. Classic Halloween movie for me is the original Fog from 1982.
Oh, that's
You can't
great.
fuck with that flick.
You can't go
Yeah.
wrong. You can't go wrong.
You
Again,
can't go wrong.
Carpenter.
Yeah,
Carpenter.
we were just talking about it outside.
Yeah. I mean, what is there to say?
Because of sweet tits.
What?
Adrian Barbeau and those amazing tits.
I just want to applaud for those.
That's them slapping together.
And what's
right now.
amazing is that they're still amazing.
That's
Yeah.
me. That's me.
She's still gorgeous.
She's still.
And same with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of.
The darkness of the fog.
tits.
You can't get that mood anymore.
Good job, John Carpenter.
Dude,
He's-
that whole scene
he
of the
was-
guy on the beach,
He
like,
was like,
Oh, John Houseman telling the story of
Yeah.
the Elizabeth Dane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can't fuck with that mood. The darkness of those creatures, you get that shot of them with the red eyes, greasy hair. You never saw them, man, but you knew something when you saw that image. You're like, dude, you're done.
That first shot where you really see one, where they're on the boat.
Yeah.
Where the guy's on the boat and he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and all of a sudden the door opens, and there it is, standing there staring in the shadows at him.
With lotion in his left hand.
No, they were moist enough, thank you.
You're done. You're just done, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just a classic. I mean, and I think that we're hitting a lot of nostalgia points here. I think.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm gonna hit a huge nostalgia
But
one next.
again, 1980, man.
It's a cachet of nostalgia tonight.
1980, you never will get that look,
Yeah.
that feel,
No.
that mood. I mean, it's Carpenter really just,
Unless
on all eight
Carpenter,
cylinders,
unless what
man.
Carpenter does next
Yeah.
is up there.
Yeah, so The Fog, right up there for me.
That's a good one. I should add that to my list too.
Classic.
Yeah, make sure you don't watch the remake.
No,
Yeah.
The remake
Yeah.
wasn't terrible.
It's not terrible, but it's almost like a shot-for-shot thing, like what they did with Psycho.
Is. It's just that and they decided we can make the ghosts look a little better.
Yeah,
That was about.
No, you
the
can't.
right, because they CGI'd them.
Fucking idiot. You can't. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Horse shit.
Speaking of Psycho,
No!
I actually watched a movie that was basically Psycho just in 1979, but that's fine. It was fucking terrible, but okay.
What was it?
Oh, it's called Don't Go in the House.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, I hated it. It was fucking
love-
terrible.
I love bad
interesting.
slasher flicks though. I
Oh,
love
what's-
bad
I mean,
slasher
it's not,
flicks.
they don't show any slashing. He burns them.
Yeah, I know. But still a slasher flick.
There was an ICP song called The Fog, by the way, too.
Oh, dear
Jesus.
Lord.
That's
Walmart
unfortunate.
There's one called
had to say.
Chicken Head too.
Is it
All
my
right.
turn?
It's
Is it my
your turn, Chris.
All right, I'm going to go with A Star is Born.
You're fucking fired. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, that's funny.
Best
real?
Halloween movie ever. No.
No.
No, I'm going to go
Three
back.
mentions in one show.
I
Dude,
know.
so good.
But great.
If you can make me cry during a movie,
Barbara
it's
Streisand
good.
is rolling in her grave.
She's not even dead yet.
That's
though.
my point.
Right. Anyways, I'm actually going to go with another nostalgia-laden flick here.
All right.
The Entity.
Yay!
Yeah.
That was on my list too.
Dear Lord,
Yeah.
that movie. I can
For
watch
everyone wondering, Scott is over here jerking off in the chair next to me.
this
done
movie.
now.
it-
Go all day long, Chris. It's all
It's just. Honestly, I think this is one of those haunting stories that I actually believe
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
you. You ever read the book?
I read the book.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
I believe her account of what actually happened. There were other people that saw, the outside people that came in and saw what was
Yeah.
happening.
Yep.
This was a well-documented case.
If you've never seen The Entity, they've actually talked about remaking this, which please God don't.
my God,
Don't.
We can go back to the
don't.
80s
Leave-
well
leave
and
alone.
watch the original. The visual effects in this movie when she is being raped by
It is
the
so
Entity,
fucking
it is so damn creepy.
Oh
When
my
you
god,
can-
it's so scary.
when you can see the hands of the spirit pressing
Oh,
on her breast
yeah.
and moving around, and they pulled this off perfectly in the 80s.
What a gag. It looks so good.
Oh my God. One of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Scares the shit out of me to this very day. And I've seen the movie probably
dozens
30
of
times.
Yeah.
I used to watch it all the
All the
time.
time.
It was on a lot, on the HBOs and stuff like that when we were kids. And this movie, Chris, let me, if you would allow me, I'm really, really glad you brought this up. So I you know what? I think I omitted it from my list because I was afraid I would just fucking freak out, fanboy, go
Yeah,
nuts.
Scott,
Yeah.
you and I.
So
we've
now you're about
talked
to freak
at
out,
length about
fanboy,
this
go nuts?
several
Yeah,
times.
pretty much.
Let's tell Trevor Barbara Hershey stars in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
So, oh, dude.
dude, you're
No, no.
So
She's so
good.
good in this.
here's the thing, man. This movie, the tension this movie creates,
I can't even think about it.
and you
Yeah.
know what? I'm right with you,
Yeah.
Chris.
Don't
This
give
movie-
away anything away.
No,
away.
this movie really fucked me up when I was younger. Like maybe not as bad as Prince of Darkness because I went on for hours about that here, but this movie really, really disturbed me. And not even as a child, like, now we've mentioned the idea of rape in film, and as old as I am now, I can't deal with it.
No, it's
I
uncomfortable.
just can't.
Nope.
I hate it. I don't like it.
If it's in a movie, I'll just be like,
I think
I'll
seeing
pass.
the entity when I was younger, I didn't quite understand what I was seeing because I was so young.
Yeah, same here.
There was a degree of violence that's undeniable, and that really put the hook in me. And Chris, when we finally get to what we call the finale of this film, in the lab, there's some things you see that, I mean, and if you've read the book, my God.
It defies our perception of reality.
Yeah,
sure.
as it
this is a truly mind-bending story,
Yeah.
and again, based on
Reality.
it was based on a real case.
event.
I
Yeah.
think we can kind of the movie was made in '82.
Yeah.
So basically, she's being haunted
Well,
by
well,
this.
No, I haven't
Trevor
seen it, and
hasn't
I
seen
really
it.
don't
Okay.
want it spoiled.
Okay. This is
I'm
one
over
you
here
have
with
to see.
I'm over here with everybody saying you got to see it, and then
Yeah.
you're like, let me spoil it for everybody.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because one of the doctors that went there, he's like I can't remember exactly what his field is, but he measures electronic or magnetic fields and stuff like that.
EMF.
Like, well, no, like even in the earth, like he's a bioscience
Voltage.
guy.
Voltage.
So
Yeah.
he was like a not a skeptic per se, but he was a scientist doctor guy that
zeros
came in.
and ones guy. Yep.
Yeah. And he's actually in a documentary that I just recently watched that I can't. The Zach Baggins guy, the Ghost Adventures dude.
God. No,
he
I
did
hate him.
No.
Demon House or whatever.
God,
I
no.
watched it because I thought, I'll watch it.
Right.
I can't. I mean, I just can't get behind this guy. I'm sorry. It could be totally real.
Who's Zach?
Zach Bag. Yeah, I just can't handle
No.
it.
Fucking douchebag.
But he's in. But he asked that guy to come in, and I was like, "Holy shit! It's the fucking actual doctor from the real case
Yeah.
that Entity is based off of."
Yeah, this is just one of those cases that's been so well documented that, like, when I watched the movie and I kind of knew the history, watching it again,
Yeah.
it was like, wow.
And it just makes it even more so,
Yeah,
like reading the book and then
Yeah.
going through the actual documentation of this case. Yeah, man.
That
Entity
book-
is woo.
That book, somehow in my grandparents' house in Tennessee, after seeing that movie so many times, I just come across the book at my grandparents' house. They had it sitting on one of their bookshelves. And I'm still very young. We're talking like 11
Right.
years old. And I just, nobody's really monitoring me. It was in the bedroom that I slept in my grandparents' house. They had books all over the place there. So I'm like, oh my God, the Entity. I wonder if this is after the movie that I saw.
Right.
And I started reading that thing, and man, that was stupid. I was fucked up. For
Yeah.
the whole trip I was there for that trip, and I ended up getting that book. I have that. One of the things I inherited from my grandparents was this book with the original cover. And Amber, who's my better half, who's a librarian by trade, I have that book on my shelf now. With covered properly with like cellophane. So I mean, I want to keep that obviously for sentimental reasons.
Yeah.
But that's a book I want to read again too, because man. Oh my God! It's Trev. Definitely, we could probably go on all night about how
Yeah,
fucking
we
insane
have
that
on
movie is.
several
Apparently.
other occasions.
Crazy.
We talk about the Entity kind of. Then it's Prince of Darkness too is another one that we talk about a lot on here.
I
Yeah,
know
there's
that's,
a lot
that's my
that-
fault. That's
That's
all
all
my
good.
fault.
No, but anytime Entity is brought up, we're like, oh my God.
well,
'Cause
it
it's
was
just
such
that
a
one movie.
It was such a violent movie. Like that's what it is. It's just the violence that you see in that flick.
Yeah.
That's what really kind of scred me up. All right, Heather, your turn.
What?
Trevor's getting all
Jesus.
upset here. Heather, your
All right,
turn.
fine. All right, well, since we're talking about one of my favorite things during Halloween is vampires.
Oh yeah.
I am obsessed with vampires.
I want
And
to
it's
suck your blood.
Dracula, it's the one thing that makes me think Halloween
Oh, yeah.
immediately.
Which Dracula?
All of them. Any single Dracula. Just vampires in general.
George Hamilton?
Yeah,
Dracula.
just Dracula in general. But I love, I actually, when I was younger, I read up on anything
Dracula
that I
with a
possibly
tan.
could, whether it was, and I steered more towards like the folklore of it, like the
Yeah, yeah.
actual,
That stuff's interesting.
it's really interesting. So Bram Stoker's is one that I watch every year because not necessarily
Because
because
Keanu
of,
Reeves' performance is so believable.
oh, because he's so fine. No, but because in that movie, not necessarily the book per se, even though it's just Jonathan Hawker's journal. But they put a lot of folklore into the movie, like
Yeah.
Lilith and the other princesses, and them eating babies, and all this other. There's a lot of factual things.
It's a lot of solid research went into that movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of my favorite vampire
And
movies.
Monica
Oh!
Bellucci's tits.
She is just too good looking. My goodness.
Yeah, she's still gorgeous to
She's
this
still
day.
gorgeous.
Oh,
But
Her and Spectre.
Bram Stoker's Dracula is just, and I love how they tie in Vlad the Impaler, and I love that story. I know all about it.
and the
It's-
costume, like
oh,
everything about the
dude,
costume design
well, it's
was
a Coppola
spectacular.
film, so come on. I mean, gee, goodness gracious.
I mean, you put Gary Oldman and Anthony Hopkins and Winona Ryder in a movie together. And you've got Francis Ford Coppola before he went
And
off
Tom
the deep
Waits.
end. Yeah.
Tom Waits as
yeah.
Renfield. Oh my
Tom
God.
Waits made that movie for me.
And even
Yeah.
the side characters,
Right.
like her, Lucy's husbands and all that stuff. Like, dude, the movie is just impeccable. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Set design, costume design, everything is just. It's a gorgeously lit movie.
Carrie Elvis.
Cinematography, acting is on
He's so
top.
good, dude.
And
Yeah.
even though Keanu Reeves is, it's not one
Keanu
of
Reeves
his
is
better
the only
movies.
iffy part of the whole movie,
Yeah,
which
but
is
it's
insane.
It's barely iffy, Like it's.
Oh, his
it's-
accent's incredibly iffy. It's almost like
his
Kevin
accent's
Costner.
terrible. I'm
in
the
Robin
first
Hood.
one to admit it. But other than that, everything is pretty
It is.
awesome.
It
you
is.
know?
And he actually is very, like, when he doesn't have dialogue, he's really good.
Oh no, he's He's more
Physically,
of a
he's a
physical. Yeah.
great actor in that movie.
You can see the emotion playing
Yeah.
off him very well in this movie. And same thing with Winona Ryder. And oh man, I actually will be watching it very soon because it's coming up on
Yeah.
my
Rotation.
list. Yeah.
All right, Trevor.
I am going old school, super nostalgia, especially for those of us of a certain generation. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Aw, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
well,
great.
you can't mess with that.
No, you
Yeah,
No.
can't
it is.
mess with
It
that.
is one of the perfect.
Strike that one from my other list now too. That's okay. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
But no, that is one of those ones that again, it's the signal. Mm-hmm. Like Halloween is here.
Yep. Great Pumpkin.
Great Pumpkin. Everything about it is so charming and perfect, and
Yeah.
and Charles Schultz.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can't go wrong with it.
you
No,
can't. You
it's
can't.
great.
And it's such an
cute.
obvious one that I had to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was charming about Charlie Brown, though, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole
All of them.
everything about that. Any of the holiday stuff they ever
Oh, yeah.
did, it all really. And I think it's our age. It was part of us growing
Oh
up.
yeah, every
in our
Halloween
age group.
you'd watch it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the one word you can say is just charming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This really awesome story, this really great
Yeah.
story we hear about with these really cool kids that we grew to love.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It's just charming.
Absolutely.
That's all. It's simple.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it.
And it's one of those ones that it isn't Halloween until I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I haven't watched it yet this year,
Oh,
so
well,
I'm totally not in the Halloween mind space yet.
It's only the
Do
second.
it.
I will
Do it now.
do it now. I can't do it now. I'm on the fucking podcast.
Get to the chopper now.
Scott,
Scott.
go for something less charming.
Yeah, well, I'll throw one way less charming at you, and it's one that I try to visit every year because it's something. It's a polarizing film for a lot of people now. But the Blair Witch Project,
Oh,
the original one
yeah.
from 1999. There was a new one called
Yeah,
Blair
yeah.
Witch. Yeah.
There's 3.
Well, there's Blair Witch Project 2, which was terrible. It was fucking horrible. Or was it called Blair Witch 2?
It was called Blair Witch 2. Yeah,
And
and
there
it
was-
took ever.
It was dumb.
It was really stupid.
The Blair Witch Project. I think we've had some conversations
We have.
about the show.
Yeah.
I mean about that movie on the show, and whatever. It's a fun thing to watch. It's a pretty disturbing thing to watch, even out of context when you know what really went down after. And we've had that whole conversation.
Yeah.
about it. But it's a creepy fucking movie, dude.
It is.
I actually like not the Blair Witch 2, but the one they made,
Blair
The
Witch.
remake.
Blair Witch, they made a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was cool.
I enjoyed that one.
No, I enjoyed it too.
I still haven't seen it.
It's a lot more modern.
It's on
obviously.
Amazon Prime right now, both of them. Actually,
Yeah.
all three of them are on Amazon Prime right now. And I was thinking about just fleshing them
The
out
second
one
one is
day.
a fucking abomination, though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. But the Blair Witch Project, we've talked about the history of that and whatnot. But it's that's a movie I can come back to during the holidays here and just enjoy it. I think it's cool.
Trevor's like, I hate it.
I'm not going to say anything.
All right, Chris, your turn.
I'm
That's a
gonna
good pick, though.
I'm gonna kind of go out in left field with
great
this
pick.
one because it's not
A lot of
real.
people agree.
It's not really a horror movie, but it is horrific. Altered States.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's a good one.
yeah.
I mean, because really, it's not.
It's not a
It's
horror
not a
movie.
horror
It's not a
movie.
horror movie by any
No.
means, but this kind of qualifies. Like, I could watch this at Halloween.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
scary
It is scary.
And William
in a
Hurt,
totally different way.
like at the top of his
I was going to say
game.
that is absolutely my
Yeah.
favorite William Hurt movie.
I've seen this movie at least 100 times because we used to smoke weed like all the time, like every
watch it.
weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And we would watch this, Reservoir Dogs, and The Professional.
That's the
Those
movie
were
that
our-
made me want to go try sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah.
Dude, the
Which
very
I've done.
first time
They're fun.
I watched that movie, I fucking tripped on mushrooms.
Nice.
That was a bad idea.
that-
Now
It
we
was
know
a-
what
You didn't
happened
need
to
it.
you.
Drug
Very
talk this
bad
show.
idea. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
pacing
Huh?
the living room and like,
You-
what's happening?
That's
like,
one of
I
those
was
movies
freaking
where
out.
if you're on anything that alters your brain chemistry
Alters
at
your
all,
state.
when you watch it, you're fucked.
Yeah.
The whole
It's a good one.
de-evolution of his character
Yeah.
towards the end of the movie when all the crazy psycho shit is going on,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
trippy visuals, like, it's fucking cool.
Yeah, man.
Like, they don't make, I mean, we've said it a few times on here already, they don't make stuff like this anymore.
No, they
No,
don't.
no. Well, they do. I mean, we are getting like that kind of movie again. Finally. I mean,
I think it's context for that also though too. You know
Yeah.
when it was made.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking any of that whatsoever.
No.
Like The Void, for example. We always bring up The
Right.
Void. That movie is fucking fantastic.
I
man.
still haven't
That
seen
looks
it. That'll
What
be a
you
new
know.
one.
But it was made, in the what middle to later 2010s or whatever you want to call
No.
it.
Yeah, it was like 2016, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I love it though. I mean, if there's one that really, really hits the nail on the head, it's that movie for me.
I still
But
haven't seen
still,
it.
you
I'll be
you
watching
can't
it soon.
you can't forget what you know.
Yeah,
If
for
you've
sure.
seen, if you've seen all these movies like when we were kids, and that's not to be snobby. I'm not. I don't want to
No,
come
not at
across that
all.
way.
No, everybody's connected to nostalgia in some way or another.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So
I mean, kids that were born in 1990 or late 90s like the Star Wars prequels.
More than we do.
More than we do. A lot more than
Yeah.
we do. But
yeah.
yeah, Altered States is just one of those movies. Again, it's horrifying. It's not necessarily horror,
No.
but
It's
just
definitely
a scary,
a good
it's a
October
scary,
watch.
yeah.
Yeah,
scary take on humanity.
Yes. So
yeah.
that's my latest pick.
That's a good explanation
Yeah.
for it.
yeah.
All right.
And then the de-evolution, that's really good way of, because I mean,
That's really what it is.
but that's
Yeah.
really what it is.
He's,
but I
he
mean,
found his primal nature and it took over.
yeah, the movie's messed up. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna do another lump here, because I watch this series throughout the year, like numerous times. Scream. I love the Scream series. I absolutely adore them, and I think I like them most because I am a big Wes Craven fan, and it's
It was really Wes Craven's love letter to himself.
right. That's what I was just gonna say. It's basically he's if you're not really huge into horror movies, you might not understand what Scream really is. You
Yeah.
know, so I think it's just a really interesting take on the genre itself.
Yeah, it
and
really
I think
is.
no better person than Wes Craven to do it. He's not really. I say he's the guy. He's my godfather of horror. Because I'm younger and
Yeah.
that was what Last House on the Left. That's I shouldn't really be spouting them off because those are all of my
They're all
top
great movies.
watches.
He really is one of the better horror directors we've ever had.
Seriously, I think so too.
I can't say he's the best. I
No,
can't
that's
say he's
fine.
the grandfather or
No,
anything,
well-
but he is really good.
The Scream series, I think, is like is his opus.
It is.
in
Well,
my
it's definitely iconic.
It
No,
is.
I mean,
It is.
that you can't take that away from it.
Having
No,
not
there's nothing to
seen-
take away from it. It's
No,
a solid,
I think
especially
the-
the first one was solid.
Oh, the first one is great.
It gave us a lot of what we didn't expect.
Yeah.
You know,
It was new and it was nice and fresh, you know, and I think having seen his other movies, but also having seen some of the campy horror movies like Monster Squad and things like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
tropes and there's a lot of coincidences that happen in all of these horror movies, right? So Scream just compiles everything and literally puts it on the screen. So if you don't really know those things,
well, what was
you
kind of
won't
cool
really,
though
you
is
know.
that it was also designed for people that weren't horror fans
Well,
because
that's-
it literally walks you through step by step what's a horror
Exactly.
trope and what's not.
Right, and
Which
I
is
think
kinda
that's
cool.
what's, and it's, I mean, it's like dark comedy at its finest, you know.
Well,
I
it's kind of
love
like one of the
seeing-
first meta horror films.
Well,
too.
yeah, for sure, but I think,
it might be.
yeah,
Yeah.
Scream
First.
was, and they only get better too. I mean, I didn't.
Scream 4 was terrible.
Scream 4 was not that great, but it was okay enough to the point where, like, there was something in Scream 4 that I didn't see in the other movies. You know what I
It
mean?
was still better than I Know What You Did Last Summer
Oh, I love that movie.
4.
Oh, I never saw that one.
No, I'm saying Scream 4 was still
Oh,
better
I
than
see.
I Know What You Did
Okay.
Last
No,
Summer.
I do. I know what you did last summer too, but the Scream series is another must-watch. Like, we started Nightmare on Elm Street series yesterday, and Scream will be after that. And that's what takes up most of my Halloween movies is the series.
The
because
genres?
I
Or
because I
the
can't.
franchises?
Oh man, but Scream is like is super near and dear to my heart. So the Scream series.
Cool.
I am going Joe Dante next.
Joe Dante?
I'm going The Howling.
Oh! I was
Oh,
like, what?
shit.
Yeah.
That's good.
That is
on my list.
I think
Yeah.
by far the best top 2 werewolf movie has ever made. Like it and
American Werewolf.
American
London.
Werewolf.
Yeah.
You want to just lump those two into this thing? Let's do that.
Yeah, let's
Oh
just
my
do
God.
it. I mean, those two.
I got into. Okay, I never do this, but I got into. Sorry, but I have to say it because someone said that American Werewolf in Paris was better than London.
Well,
and
they were
I was,
obviously blind and had never watched movies before.
I
Yeah.
seriously had
Because everything about Paris was terrible.
I straight up.
Except for, wasn't Julie Delphi in it?
Yeah, she was.
She was an upside.
I shut my laptop. I was like, oh my, I can't.
You got to walk away from that.
I was like, I was hyperventilating.
that
and
level of ignorance you can't argue with.
I can't. I was like, wow.
For me, The Howling, I love it because it's not just a werewolf movie. It's a serial killer movie that turns into a werewolf movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the opening scene of her on the street going to the phone booth, the smiley face sticker on the phone booth, the phone call telling her to go to the porno booth and go watch this movie, and that Mikey will find her. And
It's
then
so grimy.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's really. It's
dirty,
such a gross ass movie.
dirty movie.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a serial killer movie, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then it transitions through the course of the movie and becomes something else.
And you're like, what?
And every character in it was interesting. And it has so many of those people from the 80s. So many
Yeah.
of them show up where you're like, oh crap, I know him from
Yeah.
whatever. You know, like the entire cast was also Ben-ins. I mean, Robert Picardo as Mikey. I mean, nobody remembers that he was one of the best werewolves of all time.
Yeah.
Like everybody thinks of him as that doctor on Deep Space Nine.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, so that one, and then American Werewolf in London is just
Well, from a technical standpoint, from a special effects standpoint,
the transformation.
American Werewolf. Yeah, that scene itself is one of the most. I mean, it's been revered as one of the most iconic scenes in film history.
And it's one where it was the beginning of taking practical effects to a whole other level.
For real.
but
Because that was Stan Winston, right?
Yeah.
yeah, That movie had so many different elements in it, though. I mean, it was another one that it was definitely about werewolves, but
There was a
lot
cultural
of,
message
There was a
in
lot
there,
of
too.
other shit. There was a lot of other shit involved in that movie.
The comedy was great.
Obviously, his friend, just watching him decompose over the film.
Oh, yeah.
really messed me
Come
up.
on, Jack, just kill yourself.
Yeah.
Jack, this really hurts.
The scene that I'll never, and I may have mentioned it before, is the scene where he's having the nightmare scene he has where those
the Nazi goblins.
yeah they come in there and just start. That was another one of those ones where I've said this before where it just puts a hook in you.
Oh
And
yeah,
you never get it out of
it
your
gets
mind.
you right in the gut.
I've ran that through my mind so many times because they're watching the Muppets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Which obviously that was a tip of the hat.
to Henson.
Obviously, but there's all these little things that have run through my mind about just that one scene in that movie. And obviously we see it's a nightmare sequence because it didn't.
It made no sense.
It made no sense
Yeah,
at
it
all.
was a fever dream.
But I mean, that was fucked to watch that.
Oh, that was insane.
Because it was absolutely brutal.
And then when the one Nazi goblin comes through the window and stabs the nurse.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. It's brutal.
And
It's it's really hard to watch. But American Werewolf in London, I mean, that movie just is off the hook. That's another one of those
That's
ones
another really good one.
I've watched
I need to
over and
add.
over again.
Oh, yeah.
I've
for the soundtrack.
yeah,
Yeah.
Just for Griffin Dunn.
Oh, Griffin Dunn is so good.
just the way it's an amazing movie. It's timeless to me.
Yeah.
Is an American Werewolf in London.
I thought it was funny how much porn they got away with showing in that movie. Too.
Yeah, you're right.
There
right.
is-
They did get
Yeah.
away with
There's
quite a
another
bit.
There
really,
is a
there's
lot
another really
of
dirty
porn in that movie.
too. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
just dirty looking.
One I'm going to throw in here is a newer film.
Oh,
Well, not really. It's like 15 years
let's
old.
say new by whose standards?
15 years old.
Okay, that's new for us.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yay!
Oh yeah,
That's a hell of a
That's a hell of a movie.
Smells. It just drips Halloween.
Yeah. Dr. Satan.
Frankly, I think the greatest thing that Rob Zombie's ever done. I don't think he's ever. Devil's Rejects was another. I enjoyed Devil's Rejects for more of a story. House of a Thousand Corpses was just a fucking bloodbath.
Yeah.
That's what it was supposed to be. It was
all,
Texas
yeah.
Texas Chainsaw worship at its
Yeah.
most
Oh,
deplorable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was no bullshit about it, though. There was no pretense.
Nope.
It was like, this is what he wants to do.
when you name your movie House of a Thousand
Yeah.
Corpses,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
pretty sure what you're gonna get when you go
Yeah.
in.
But it's another one of those ones that I as much as, and even back when that movie came out, I've always had this hate relationship with Rob Zombie. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I never really liked his music. And when he started making films, I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. But he did take that aesthetic of his music and kind of make it into a film, which I think transposes a whole lot better.
He just needs to stay away from Halloween. That's all I think.
I can't agree with
Fuck
that.
everything else he did on film.
I
pretty
actually
much.
think his Halloween movies are better than John Carpenter's.
Oh, come on.
That Halloween 2, I wanted to fucking...
Halloween
terrible.
2 was
Fucking terrible.
mediocre, but
Fucking
his first
terrible.
Halloween...
The first Halloween remake was decent, but Halloween 2...
I think it's better than the original.
Really?
Well, yeah.
No.
I think the original is boring as fuck, but that's
The
just
Your
original?
face is boring as fuck.
Come on.
I'm agreeing with
I'm-
Chris on that one.
I just,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I can't get into the Halloween.
I love Carpenter's Halloween. I love it. The
get
concept of
it.
the shape being as scary as the shape is amazing.
Now,
I
House of-
loved Rob Zombie going in
Yeah.
and giving us a character. You know,
See, I hate that.
I don't want that.
No.
I
I don't
did.
care about that.
I
No,
thought
it's
I
cool.
thought it was more interesting.
I mean, Blake would agree with you. So,
My-
there are people that love that.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. It's
I'm
great.
weird. I'd rather watch a serial killer movie than a slasher movie, and it turned it into a serial killer movie for me. So
House of a Thousand Corpses,
Yes.
to me, it's a movie that did captivate me when it came out. I watched it a bunch of times. It's hard to watch now.
Oh, it's
that I'm
brutal.
older. It's
It's
hard
brutal.
to watch. When I was
Yeah,
younger,
I
it
can't
didn't.
believe I watched it.
Yeah, it's hard, and really, I mean, by today's standards, like with extreme cinema and whatnot that's out there, it's pretty insane. It's pretty brutal, but it isn't that brutal.
No,
but
not in
it's
comparison
hard
to
to
what
watch.
some people are doing now.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah, it is.
There's some
Yeah.
shit that happens in that movie that I'm like, dude.
The violence is strong in that
Yeah,
one.
and that's what when the Devil's Rejects was being made, I read an article with Bill Moseley or Bob Moseley or Bill Moseley.
Bill
Yeah,
Moseley.
Bill Moseley. And he did say, and this is during the filming of the Devil's Rejects, they were filming a sequence which I was pretty sure I knew which one it was when he was talking about it. But Bill Moseley literally walked up to Rob Zombie and said, "Dude, this is a real fucking bummer." He's like, "This whole thing is just a real fucking bummer to me, dude." They didn't even like to act. They didn't want to act
Yeah.
that shit out.
No, of course
And Rob
not.
Zombie said, "Look, this is what you signed up for. Deal with it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's doing the third one finally.
Yeah, is that what they're working on?
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
something about that. So, but yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses. It's not much of a story. It wasn't supposed to be much of a
not.
story.
It's a slasher
No.
movie.
It's a fucking gore fest.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's a good Halloween one.
Yeah. It just drips Halloween. That's
Yeah.
what Rob Zombie's all about. I mean, if there's truly someone who lives Halloween every
Yeah.
day, it's Rob Zombie. So I tip my hat to him for that.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, cool flick. Love that movie. Chris?
I'm just like all over the nostalgia bandwagon tonight.
That's all right.
We like nostalgia. It's fine.
I'm gonna go with The Shining.
Oh,
Oh,
sweet.
hell yes.
You
Take that
know,
off my list.
this movie is so fucking weird. It really is a weird movie.
It is.
You know, the narrative is so strange in this movie. You have this feeling of unease the entire film.
And it's so
You know,
perfectly crafted to
And
do
it
that.
hits that crescendo towards the end, and it's like getting pummeled in the fucking face. And honestly, I mean, Kubrick made a lot of great films. My favorite probably being Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
But this would be my number 2.
Yeah.
This would definitely be my number 2.
Yep.
It's so carefully crafted. Jack Nicholson is so fucking great, and Shelley Duvall playing
Poor Shelley.
I know. We
playing
said that last time.
the damaged wife in this
Yeah.
movie. She's so goddamn good
Yeah, she
in
is.
this movie. Everything about the visual effects, the music, the weird story, and the way that Kubrick turned this around on Stephen King, because they did not like each other.
Yeah.
And Stephen King did not like what he was doing with the movie.
No.
If you ever watch the documentary Room
Yeah,
437,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, 437.
It's really interesting how they explain all the trippy things that were taking place and how basically Kubrick was like entirely saying fuck you to Stephen King, like the entire production. And Stephen King still hates this movie
it was
to this very day.
It was a tense filming too. I mean, there's a lot of the documentary footage too, where you see like Shelley Duvall and Stanley Kubrick going back and forth, like arguing.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot.
Nobody
it was
came out of that movie unscathed.
No, there was a
Nobody.
lot of tension on that set. What I loved seeing was Jack Nicholson getting himself into character. There's some cuts of him like smoking a cigarette, chilling out, and then him locking those eyes in,
Yeah.
and getting himself
Doing
into
his
that
method
zone.
thing.
Yeah.
Watching that, to watch a man like Jack Nicholson, who's a fucking icon, also, kind of like get into that zone. That's almost as amazing as watching the film itself to me.
And this is such a like iconic cultural movie.
Yeah.
Like my son Connor has never seen The Shining.
But he loved that part. But he knew.
But when we
he
saw
knew what it
Ready
was
Player
and-
One, he was like, "Ooh, The Shining!" Like
Oh.
he knew exactly what it
yeah.
was, even
Okay,
though
yeah.
Yeah.
this. I mean, obviously, it's one of the biggest horror films of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those. Like when Halloween comes around for me, I automatically revert to 80s mode.
Yeah.
Like I want to watch
Because
stuff
that's where all the good stuff was.
with the great cinematography and the great visual
yeah,
effects.
yeah.
Mid-70s.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
oh, was it
same
okay?
thing.
Mid 70s. But you know what
It
I'm
was,
saying.
I think.
Yeah.
I think The Shining was 72.
Yeah,
No.
maybe it was.
72.
72.
No, it was like 73, 74,
Oh, okay.
maybe 5.
Somebody look that up.
I'm looking it up.
Well, whatever.
No, some of the striking, obviously.
Haha,
one of the-
I'm right. It was 1980.
Was it really?
Oh
Yep.
shit!
Oh, wow. So,
yeah.
It looks like a 70s movie.
so, some of the visuals in that movie, obviously, one of the most iconic to me, I think, in film will always be, Jack Nicholson frozen.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Just that look on, just that grimace that he locked
Yeah.
in, just for that shot. Like, okay, lock it in, shoot
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Fucked up to look at. Just fucked up to look at.
Yeah.
You know, I always put myself in the place of that family. Like, how fucking cool would it be just to stay at a place like that all winter?
No.
Not at all.
Oh, I would totally be all
But
up
but
in
at the
that.
surface of it, it'd be a riot. Like
Especially
you know,
for the boy.
Well, now, like, you'd have internet in, like,
Would you?
TV. Yeah, probably.
well, you'd be
'cause you'd have
communicating. You'd be
satellite.
communicating with people.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you would still have some connection.
That's why I go camping, guys, to get
Yeah.
away
That's
from
why
everybody.
I don't go camping. Funny.
All right, we got time for a couple more. H, give us one.
Okay, I'm gonna go with probably one of the better ones, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I have to watch that every single year, and
That
since,
one I can't watch anymore.
I
can't do it.
It's a really long, slow burn. But you might as well just watch the remake, because the remake is, if not better, then just as good.
No.
The
I
remake
like-
of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I love the
okay.
remake. I love
think
it
the remake
because
is
it's
so
brutal
good.
as shit.
Yeah,
but
I think
I
the
That's
still
why I
think
didn't
it was.
like it. Like the original was brutal enough. They didn't need to ramp it up.
Oh well,
You
They
know.
but
they kind of took it early 2000s. They were doing the whole torture porn
Yeah,
thing, so it's
that
kind of
was-
the
yeah.
direction that
And
he
I'm
went with it.
distinctly anti-torture porn.
Yeah,
Distinctly.
but I'm
But
with you on Texas Chainsaw.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh,
man.
I'm not saying I don't like the movie. I'm just saying I can't watch it anymore. It's too intense.
Oh,
for
the
me now.
original one.
The original.
Yeah, it is really intense though.
It every time I watch it, it's like a gut punch.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
that's kind of. Let's see, what did I start off? I started off with Jaws, just to like get me into the mood a little
Right,
bit.
right.
You know, and
Go
then
a little lighthearted.
yeah, just a little lighthearted. And then, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre will be coming up pretty soon too,
Now-
because that's when I have to really give myself the butterflies, because that movie really, and especially like I'm so tiny and I'm so helpless most of the times. Like there's no way I could protect myself.
You are helpless.
If I was in a situation like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I would kill myself. I'd be like, here, don't. I'll just do
Just
you
cut-
do you
No,
the
no.
favor, you know.
I'll just cut myself in half with that chainsaw.
Yeah, no big deal. And
Here, let me
oh
see
my
that
god,
meat hook.
Leatherface is just so that guy, the makeup in that movie is so good. Woo! This scares the shit out of me.
All right, Trevor, throw another one out there.
I'm going 1960s
Okay.
for this one. The Hammer picture horror of Dracula.
Okay.
All right.
Probably my favorite Dracula movie ever. Christopher Lee at his peak. Peter Cushing as the perfect
Yeah.
Van Helsing. Just spectacularly done. The costuming, the sets, the acting, it was all spot on. And it was all done for no budget and still came out gorgeous. Gorgeous. It looks like Victorian art.
And little did they know they would both end up in Star Wars movies.
Little do they know.
Yeah, bastards.
Yep. Yep. It to this day, it is the only Dracula movie that I consider scary.
Yeah.
The
It's
rest
been
of them
a
I
very
find
long time since I've seen that.
the rest of them I consider interesting. This one is scary. It's just the pacing, it's the mystery, all of that just make it uncomfortable and amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Strongly recommend.
And
Yeah.
you really like the early monster stuff and the
I
early
love it.
Dracula stuff.
I
That's
love
pretty
it.
sweet.
I
I need to
love
get more into that stuff.
yeah, me
again.
too. It's been a while since I've caught up.
I
on a lot
love
of
the
that stuff.
pre-70s exploitation gore movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love the exploitation gore movies too. But for me, there's an artistry in the old ones that the newer ones never had.
Yeah.
That where they could be scary and subtle at the same time, where they didn't need to find where the envelope was to supposedly make it more scary. They could just make a scary movie,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful.
One
So
more,
then
Scott.
a high note. The Addams Family, 1991.
Yay!
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Aw, that's a great pick.
Love being a fan.
I didn't even
yeah,
think of that.
Being a fan of the series, you know.
Yeah.
You got it.
It was fun to see a modernized version of that. And you know what? Everything was there.
Yeah, it was.
Including MC Hammer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's also a rad ass pin. They did the Addams Family pinball game too, which is
Yeah.
rad.
That
Yeah.
game was great.
Yeah,
that
that was
game is
rad as
sweet.
hell. It's just a fun, it's obviously it's a creepy looking movie, but it's it's a comedy though. It's not
And it
Yeah.
was perfectly
Oh, no,
cast.
it is, yeah, for real.
That's one of those ones where like you couldn't ask
Yeah.
for better people in every part of the
What was
movie.
it? Raul Julia,
Raul
Angelica
Julia.
Houston, Christopher Lloyd is Fester, correct?
Yeah.
and
Christina Ricci is Wednesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and who is Granny? God, what was her name?
Oh, I can't remember her name.
She died after that, and she was
Yeah.
different in the second one.
Yeah. And she was spectacular.
She was.
Like there was
can't remember
that
her
the guy who played Lurch
yeah.
was perfect. The guy who played the Thing was
Thing.
amazing.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, it just looked great. It felt great. It's one of them fun things you can watch on Halloween. It's just a dare I say it's a feel good type movie.
It is.
It is a feel good movie.
That's one of those-
It's about a family, and it's about this creepy family, but they
That has absolute love for each other.
yeah, they all love each other. They'll do anything for each other, and so
Yep.
it's this beautiful spin on the world will not accept these people, but they have each other.
And
It's
that
just a fun-
franchise has some of the best lines in history. Would you like to buy some Girl Scout
Oh yeah,
cookies?
Are
they
they
made
made
from
with
real
real
Girl
Girl
Scouts?
Yeah. Or the whole Mamushka dance.
Oh, yeah.
Mamushka.
I'm not big on like dancing and that whole thing,
But that scene's
that
great.
scene's great. It's just fucking
It's Raul
great.
Julia at his best.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
really
dude, he
is.
could nail comedy like nobody else.
Yeah.
He could.
You know?
It's so effortless too.
That's always fun to watch on the holiday.
Oh yeah.
Or around the holiday.
I watch
actually
that. I watch
not
that
too
way
long
too
ago. Yeah,
regularly.
I watch it regularly.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of those movies when it came out, it started like this whole cultural wave of like
Goth.
Addams Family, like merch and all kinds
Yeah.
of crazy
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Music
Oh, yeah.
videos, all that stuff, t-shirts.
Yep.
But all right.
All right.
This was episode 97 of Real Crime.
yeah.
We'll be back next week with episode 98, which will be on the Hellraiser series.
The whole damn
Nice.
thing.
The
so
whole damn thing.
make sure to check back with us. Bitches. Bye.
I want to go to bed.
All right, go to bed.
No.
Good night, Scott.
Visit us at www.themoviesleuth.com and find The Movie Sleuth on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and iTunes.